The following program is a real estate and mortgage show and does not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Reality Radio 101, its advertisers and sponsors, or its listening audience. Listener discretion is advised. Good evening and welcome to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts Randy and Jackie Rodney right here on Reality Radio 101. To get on board, send us an email. Our email address is yourhomeyourmoney101 at gmail.com. And now, ladies and gentlemen, right to your hosts of Your Home, Your Money, Randy and Jackie Rodney.
Well, hello, y'all.
Hey guys, how are ya?
Let me close this up so I can spend some time with you guys.
You got some stat thingies there?
We've been
That's
talking
good because I
stats
got
for a while.
nothing. I got absolutely nothing.
You mean you just sitting here floating? You don't
I'm
appreciate
floating.
our
I'm
audience?
floating. I did something with my back when I coughed so much because you made me work so hard the last week. And now I'm in pain. I couldn't even do anything.
You
I
know-
went out with my clients, but that was the most I could do, man. Your fault.
She always blames me. She's saying she got to do everything. Oh, the last show, you had everybody writing in saying I don't do nothing. I just let it pass. I don't mind because I don't get affected by people's point of view. But they hit me pretty hard.
They did. I realized at the end I had to say no. He's amazing. I love him. You were getting knocked down pretty hard last week. You were.
It actually had no effect on me because I knew it wasn't real. We're just acting for the show.
I don't know if we're acting. We actually behave like this. So what are you talking about?
In real life, I'm a fantastic person.
Okay, you got to go on YouTube and see the laugh he's doing right now, okay? Because he's actually laughing at himself with that sentence.
Let's get these 6 emails out of the way and let's get down to some busyness.
Okay, we got Grant. He's like, be well. Hey, real estate folks. Happy Bunny Day. Thank you, Grant.
Thank you, Grant.
I hope you all had a great Easter. We had to cancel because I was sick, so we didn't really do anything. We were all home, keeping to ourselves. And Helen says, happy Easter to the staff at the real estate show. Thank you, Helen. We all appreciate that.
Thank you, Helen.
And Katie
Back
says,
to Helen back.
okay.
Back
Okay.
to Helen back.
I got it.
Helen back.
Just wasn't funny. Anyways,
But if her name was Helen back, you know.
Are you serious
If she
right now?
married like Joe back,
are you serious?
then she could be Helen
Do you
back.
know that Randy Rodney sounds like a stripper name? So let's talk about that, Randy Rodney. Come on, Gary, do it, Gary.
I actually had
Introduce Randy, the
visions
stripper.
of being a
And
stripper.
now, on the poll, it's Randy Rodney.
I got to give Gary a shout out because when I was sick, Gary drove stuff to my house. He bought me crackers and soup, and he bought me chocolate, and he brought me medicine, and he was so sweet. Thank you, Gary.
He was
You're
trying,
welcome.
he was
Huh?
trying to kill you.
He was trying to kill me? Okay.
No.
Trying to put you out of your misery by killing me? Okay. Katie says, happy Easter to all the real estate show. Love the
Thank
show.
you.
Thank you, Katie. We have a lot of fun doing it. So Donna says, hey, home show, bad contractor.
Oh, that's easy to get.
If you're having a bad day, remember someone ordered this door with a peephole. I didn't see that. Oh my gosh. The door is all glass panels and it's got a peephole. What the hell? That's a good one. First, I would have missed that. That's a good one, Donna. Yeah, yeah. Somebody needed to be telling them. Tommy says, we hope that all at your home had a very beautiful Easter. until this evening. Tom, thanks,
Thank
Tom.
you, Tom.
And we did. We stayed home,
Yeah.
but We
I had chips for dinner on Easter. It was quite nice.
you did
Chips.
not truly cooked, and then I cooked yesterday. You didn't have chips. You decided
Okay.
to eat chips because you didn't want to get any food for yourself.
You were
so
sick.
let's tell
I
it
had
the way it
chips.
is. He can manage now to make a coffee though with the automatic coffee machine. So he's learned that for 2025,
But
and
I
we're only
do not want
and
to
we're only
drink
4
coffee.
months.
For many, many years, I never drank coffee, and my brain was great. And now you got me drinking coffee, and now I can't think.
Okay, hold on. Anybody who has known us for any time know that you don't do anything you don't want to do. So don't say I got you doing it. If I ask you to do something, you'll do the opposite.
Okay.
So you're not drinking coffee because of me, Bucko.
Okay, then whatever you say.
Oh, I can't laugh because I cough so much. I think I pulled a muscle or my ribs out of place. I don't know. Or maybe he hit me in my sleep,
Maybe
guys.
you need to
Maybe
stop
that's what
being
it
a
was.
bully.
Oh, really, hey? And Cameron says, she's back. Jackie's back. Yes, some class in the show again.
Oh, he doesn't say that for sure.
Yes, he did.
He did not. Class in the show?
Yeah.
Where's the class? Where?
I went past it
Yeah,
now.
you went
But
past it
he
because it
can-
didn't exist.
Really?
Yeah, it didn't
Anyways.
exist. Go back.
James-
Hundog. You get 100.
James said, we hope that you folks had a wonderful Easter. No homes in my Easter basket. Don't forget to vote here in Canada on Monday. You know what? I'm glad that
The
you brought that up,
28th.
James, because you know what? I've been seeing this commercial, which I think is so cute. They're on the golf course, and it's a conservative one, and they're talking about one guy is like, you know, doesn't know who he's voting for, and the other guy says, are we really going to give them a 10th year, another term? Are we really doing this? And then he says something else, and the guy's like, he's like, can't remember because my brain doesn't work really well these days, but it was cute, anyways.
I You like to see that?
She said, we did see Randy. Gwen says, we saw him, and it's a stripper. Gwen, he did look like that when I met him.
Better than that.
He looked like that when I met him, but
That's
you
why
know.
I didn't.
Oh, we
That's
got
why
another
I
one.
didn't do stripping because I just didn't want to be followed by all those women.
Oh, stop. You're making me laugh and it hurts. Stop
You
it.
know.
You're too funny.
It's hard to be me. Like people think it's really easy walking around being this good looking. It's not that easy.
Is it?
It's just not.
Really, hey?
Yeah.
Okay.
You wouldn't know.
Oh, stop. Stop it. You're such a doofus. Amy says, so glad that Jackie is doing much better. Hello to all the show. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you,
I
Amy.
am. Today is the first day that I have not been coughing my head off, which is good because my ribs or whatever the heck I did is hurting so much. And that's it. Go for it, babe.
Nice.
It's all yours.
Well, I have some clients
There's some client.
that are having a really hard time. They want to sell, but in this market where we're almost at the point where 1 in 5 are selling. Why do you say 1 in 5 are selling? Because there's 5,000 sales, and there's almost 25,000 active listings. There's 23,462. And so there was 5,011 sales. So we're almost at 1 in 5 homes are selling. It means 4 out of 5 are not selling, which means it's really easy to not sell your house. It's not something you have to try to do. And you know, from our standpoint, we, we'll reimburse sellers for their staging costs, for the first month of the staging costs, the delivery there, the setup, the takedown, and the removal of the staging process and 1 month of it sitting in the house. We'll absorb those costs upon successful sale of a home. However, if it's not up to the realtors what the price is. I know some realtors like to believe that, but it really isn't. And when we're in the customer service game, we're stuck with this really, really weird situation. And what it is that, if the market clearly states that homes of that size in that area are worth $1 million, and the seller wants 1.1 or 1.2 or anything over 1, when the other ones have sold for 1, and 1 in 5 homes sell, that means 4 to 5 aren't, that means that they're guaranteeing that they're not selling. And then they have this thing where they say, well, you never know. And that's not true. When you never know is when you're in a situation where all the homes are selling. And so if all the homes are selling and then you price high, well, you never know. And I would agree with that, especially with some of the environments that we've had where homes are always going way over what they valued and the value was climbing every single month. But we're in a situation where home prices are pretty much declining every single month. And so what I mean by declining is that February over March, the average price increased, but did the average price increase because housing costs went up, or did the average price increase because bigger homes sold? So that's an interesting thing to try to figure out. And then you say, well, how do you figure that out? Well, you do some more math, or you cheat and you look at the HPI. And the HPI is basically the home price index, where the real estate board has finally got pretty smart at being able to understand pricing. And what they've done, they've taken what they would consider a standard, let's say, standard 3-bedroom bungalow on a 50 by 100 lot in East York. And so then what they'll do is they'll compare a 3-bedroom bungalow on a 50-foot lot in East York this month versus next month a 3-bedroom bungalow. I hope I said bungalow, not Congo. The bungalow on a 50-foot lot next month. And they'll do that month after month after month, year after year after year, so that they have a baseline of what the prices are going for, as opposed to just an average of overall the market, which takes a very special eye to determine the direction of the market. When you're taking condos and townhouses, and you're taking East York, and you're taking Oshawa, and you're taking, all these different areas and different types of homes, and you bring them all together and get an average price, you really do have to be a consummate professional, digging into the numbers, understanding the marketplace to get direction. But when you're taking the same home in the same location, same type of home in the same location, that's when you start to see the difference. So, in essence, the market is not going forward, guys. It is going backwards. It is declining. We are seeing that our HPI is reducing. The number is going down. And so because of this, it's really important as a seller to realize that when you put your home on the market in the springtime and you put it at a price that will cause it not to sell, that you're costing yourself money. And so you're costing yourself money in a few different ways. Well, one, you only really have 1 month of kind of free staging if you consider it that. And then after that, it's your cost. And then some people say, well, why? Why would it be my cost? Why would I pay for it? I'm hiring you. Well, hold on. it's you that's determining the price. We have no say, really. It's you that determines the price. Not only do you determine price, but you determine how long your home's going to be on the market because you've decided that you want to outbid all of the buyers. Every single buyer on the market, you are outbidding them
My
for
husband
your
has a
home.
way of putting stuff.
It's the truth. You're outbidding them. Your home's worth $1 million, and you're bidding 1.1. And the buyers all say, "You won. You won the auction.
Yeah,
Take
but
your
when
home
you
off the market."
say that, people look at you like you're, like they don't get it because it's very sarcastic to people.
Gary, we need you. Mike, we
Yeah.
need you. Is it
Yeah.
sarcastic to say that you've outbid all the buyers on the market when you price your home at 1.1 when your
Well,
house is worth $1 million?
I
Let
don't-
them answer,
okay.
please.
If somebody sat down across from you and said that, Gary, if you were on to list your home, what would you think of that person?
Well, we get it because he's being, he's telling the listing person that your home is way too high. We get it, but a lot of people may not. They're saying they bid on their own house.
Yeah, and they're going to think he's a jackass.
Well, I won't say that, but
What do you think, Mike?
I'm kind of on the same page with Gary.
Oh, come on. Okay, fine. Stuart said he's not on the same page with Randy. No kidding. Stuart says, "Hey, Randy and Jackie, love the advice, the banter, and the fun." Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart. So
The bantering is tiring, though.
So it's just a story, just another way to look
I
at
know,
it.
but people-
You are the highest bidder. The buyers aren't willing to go there. You're at an auction, you're the highest bidder, you have won the deal. So that's really the story. And so there's not much else to say. And the thing is that we do know it won't sell because 4 out of 5 homes aren't selling. And only 1 out of 5 homes are selling. So here's where the problem comes in. If you do have somebody that priced their home at $1 million, then everybody else is trying to get a little bit more. What happens is that's the guy that's next to sell. So if you price yours at $1 million, now one of yous are going to sell. Who is it going to be? So you need to look at the 2 homes, which one's in
Yeah,
better
which
condition,
more value
and that
for the money
one will be
and-
the one that sells. But here's the thing: if you really want to stick to the highest price, you have to wait until the better home sells. And then if you have an equal size home and everything, then at least you're the next one in line to sell because everybody else has outbid the market.
Well, the one thing I can say is we are 100% referral, Randy and I and our team. And lately we've been going out and we've been meeting with people that don't really know us, and going on listing appointments. And I have to say, I have to say one thing that sellers right now, and I'm not talking about buyers right now, I'm just talking about sellers, they are definitely more educated than years ago when I started in the business. Because years ago, even maybe 5, 10 years ago, we would go on listing appointments and, even sometimes if we knew the people, we'd be honest with them and tell them what their house is worth and what we thought they should price and what it would sell at, but somebody else would come in and say, "Oh no, it's worth 9, blah, blah, blah." Not really showing them where they got the 900 from, but because we all, even ourselves personally, if we're gonna sell our home, we think it's worth more than everybody else's house, and we're the same way. So we're all like that, and we would lose. We would not get the listing because we were honest with people. But you know what? We just
But they
kept.
never sold their house.
Well,
That's
they
why-
did, but they got beaten down in price over.
They never sold it at that price.
Exactly.
The price had to come down and come down.
Exactly.
And here's the real problem: if the
But can I
market,
finish?
yeah, because you just
But
got.
can I finish?
Yeah, but let's finish
No,
that
no,
part
no,
of it.
no.
The
No, no, no.
market is going down, so when you originally should have been listed at 900 and you didn't, now 3 months later your home is only worth 875. So 900 it won't sell for anymore.
Okay,
So
and
you
we know
already
that.
lost that opportunity. You're selling at $875.
not what I was talking about.
Yeah, I understand, but to finish your story, because
I don't want you to finish my story because you don't even know what my story is.
no, but you said that they did sell, but you didn't
You
explain.
didn't because you cut me off. I didn't even get a chance to talk.
Okay, go ahead.
They did sell, but the realtor just kept beating them down in price because they had the listing signed and they weren't going to let go of the listing. But I
But
find
did they get the money they wanted, Jack?
no. But that's what
you didn't
beating
explain any of that.
I just said.
You'd be saying
they're
beating them down. What does
beating
that
them
mean?
down on price until it sells.
Okay.
And now they're locked into the listing, and no one's given up the listing, so they're stuck.
But you
Anyways.
still didn't explain that they actually lost money. You didn't explain that.
Oh, boy.
I'm just saying, you didn't. You think you did, maybe in your head was saying something, but they lost
Did they
money.
lose money, or did they sell at the price that we told them? So they didn't lose money.
You see,
What
they
they
did
lost was
lose-
imaginary money. It
I
didn't
just explained
exist.
it to you, Jack.
But that money never did exist.
Okay, yeah, I will explain it after
you
you finish.
understand?
No, I don't want to have this conversation
you
with
understand?
you because you're all over the place, and I
I
just
am
want you to
not
finish
all
what
over
you're
the
saying.
place.
You are.
What I was trying to say, anyways, was that I find now, stop it, I'm going to smack you. Now, we're going out on listing appointments and we're dealing with some people that have been referred to us but don't really know us from the moon. And they're actually listening and, they're saying, yeah, you know what, we want to list with you because they're more savvy. They know these sellers now, some of them, they're watching what's going on in the market. They're getting it in black and white. They're not watching from TV. Let's not go there with news and that because half of that's not even real. And they now know and they're not getting swindled, I guess, or whatever. That's what I was going to say. From years ago, people just jumped at the realtor that said they could get them the most money. I find now, though, people are like, when you sit down, you show them things in black and white, and you explain to them what's going on, where you believe the price is, and that's all based on what you're going to do with your home before it hits the market. They honestly are more educated, I find. That was my story.
Okay, so
Now go ahead
going
and-
back to your story where you misled everybody and then fought to mislead
Okay,
them.
peeps, tell me,
So
did I
the-
mislead anybody?
Well, they don't even know.
What do you mean they don't know?
Okay, Jack.
Oh my gosh, this
Tell me
man
when
has
you're
no
done,
patience.
so I can. No,
Go
it's not
ahead.
that. It's just I just want to complete it. We're in a declining market. If we tell you your home is worth 900 right now, it's worth 900 right now. But in 2 months, it's not worth 900 anymore. As a matter of fact, the market is shifting so quickly that we even tell sellers that the price that we're telling you today is not necessarily going to be the price when you go on the market. And we'll have to look at the market then if you want to position yourself to sell. So no, you're not getting the same price like Jackie said because we told you this price and so the guy bid up some high price and then he came down and you sold at that price. That's not true. Time went on and the house devalued. And unfortunately, because you're selling it later along that timeline, the property sells for less. So the fact that you were being misled into being greedy and trying to get more caused you to get less money. And so the thing is that, and that's where you weren't clear in your story.
Okay.
And then you actually misled them by saying, no, they got the same, which is so patently false. And I'm not sure why you said that, but it could just be because you're female. That may be the only reason.
Oh, you male
I don't know.
chauvinist.
So,
Oinker.
that was
Oink,
the
oink.
That was supposed to be
Oink,
funny.
oink.
Okay. you didn't
Nobody's
like it.
laughing.
No, I know people
No,
are laughing.
nobody laughing at you.
No, I
Oh
can
yeah,
almost
sorry.
hear them.
They're laughing at you, not with you.
Okay,
yeah,
fine.
that's fine.
That's fine.
But
I'll
anyways,
take that.
it is true what you're saying. Like just before we went live on air, our
It's
client,
true?
shut up. Our client called us. We got a new listing coming up in Keswick, and we were supposed to be hitting the market on Friday, and they called and said, you know what? I'm not going to be finished a little bit of work I'm doing until Saturday. And then his wife is like, so what is the list price? What are we listing at? And today's Tuesday, and we're going to be hitting the market now Saturday. And I honestly said to her, I can't tell you come Thursday, Friday, we're going to go back and we're going to look at what's happened in these last 4 days before we're listing. And then we're going to sit down and now we're going to determine what we're going to list your house at, because now there may have been more that came on the market. There may have been some that sold at that time. So I don't really pinpoint a price or suggest or help you with anything until the day before. And I know for some people that's hard because
It is because, and it's not because we don't want to do that process. It's because the way that the market is moving. You got to understand. I keep saying this: 1 in 5 homes are selling. So if you want to be one that sells, you really have to know the marketplace. You really have to position yourself to be able to sell. And if you're not willing to do that, we can tell you, yeah, you're going to have to wait, because all these other properties are going to be the ones that sell first. When your house is worth $1 million and you price it at 1.1, your home is priced with all the big ones. And what do buyers do? They pay for size.
Value.
You don't go and buy a small house for big house price. You don't do that. You buy the small house for small house price. And then when you're in a marketplace like what we're in right now, buyers are actually very reluctant to put in offers, even if they like the place.
Yeah.
It'll take them 2-3 days once they've fallen in love with a property, put in an offer, whereas before they were putting in offers before they went to go see the home. So here's the thing. There's a couple things going on here. One, the number of transactions that we had last month, which should have been like the amazing month of the year, it was a little over 5,000 transactions. It was 5,011 transactions. Do you know the last time we've ever seen transactions that low in a month of March? 26 years ago was the last time we saw it. Do you know what the population was 26 years ago? It was half of what it is today. So it's not even relative. We have double the people, but we're doing half the transaction. Well, we're doing low transactions. We're, you get what I'm saying there. We should be doing a lot more transactions. That number we haven't seen in 26 years, and it's not even comparable to that time because they had half of the population. So times are tough. Now, so
And they're
that's
going to get tougher.
That's one thing to consider. So you're fighting for every single sale. And we've been very, very fortunate because we're right on top of the marketplace. We're not guessing with our clients and just throwing out numbers and saying, hey, you know what, you can try this number. No, you go, you see the properties that are there, you know who your competition is, you know who's sold, and you know how to position yourself. You know who didn't sell. All the people who tried the 1.1, those people didn't sell. So you know that doesn't work. And then the ones that sold between 980 and 110 if there's multiple offers. That's the sweet spot. And then you look who's on the market. How am I going to compete with them? How do I position myself to be the next one or the one after that to sell? And it's a strategic process, but it's a process that's a timely process because properties are coming on the market and changing price and coming off the market, and new properties are coming on at the speed of light. As a matter of fact, the new listings are up almost 30%. 30% faster than ever before. And so we really got to look at that. But our sales to new listing ratio, which is basically economics, are kind of like a supply and demand. It's the sales versus the listings. And that is at 36.6%, which is fully 100% immersed into the buyer's marketplace. So according to our sales to new listing ratio, that trend is telling us that we are fully immersed in a buyer's market, okay, according to that trend. And if we're looking at months of inventory, overall it's 3.9, so it's almost 4, which is It's still in the balanced marketplace, but it's heading towards the buyer's marketplace. So there needs to be a lot of considerations when it comes to listing, and it's a very, very important time. That day when you put your home on the market, that's a very, very important day. Now, should we talk about just
Well, let's do the emails
strategically
quickly.
how important, and tell people how they can best position their home, when it comes to the time of putting it on the market? You want to take that email first?
Well, I got 3 or 4 emails
Okay.
now. So we got an email from Steve, and Steve says, finally finished my fireplace, so proud. And the craftsmanship is gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful. But the fireplace is made of wood. So, yeah, but great craftsmanship. And then
Wood
Frank.
fireplace.
Yeah.
That should last for a couple of fires. It depends if it gets out
I
of control.
don't know if it's even going to come.
Maybe one. But it
Not
depends
even.
how big the fire is. If it's small.
It doesn't matter. It's going to heat up,
Yeah,
even
but
on the
wood
bottom.
needs kindling. Well, he could put a
Yeah.
tray under
Oh
there.
my God. Okay.
You can preserve it.
All right, buddy. Okay, you
You
got
can use
it.
a candle.
Frank says, Jackie sounds good compared to last week. Yes, I feel a lot better, Frank, than last week. Ran, a
You weren't
signed...
here last week.
Yes, I was. You forget about me that quickly?
You weren't here last week. Oh, it was the week
Yes,
before
I
you weren't here?
was.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was about 3 weeks ago.
All right.
Yeah, she was here last week because remember all the coughing she was doing?
Yes, thank you. People were telling me to
Never
go
forget
home.
They were.
Rand says, he says, Rand, a sign to hang up in your office. We live in a world where the intelligent must keep quiet so the stupid will not be offended. I've heard something like that before, Frank, so yeah. And then Ann says, Jackie, we got what you were saying. It is just Randy wanting to be right all the time. We will let him have it this time, but make sure he gets back on his meds. Oh, no. Oh, ouch.
And
That was a good one,
dare
Ann.
you.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that is funny, and I'm really.
Because whenever I'm acting out of sorts or I'm like nitpicking him, he's like, did you take your medication? He always says that to me. Did you take your medication? So that was good. I like that one. Go ahead. You wanted to talk about...
Yeah, I was gonna do timing, but I was excited. It might be a little bit too geeky for the show, helping people to really position themselves. You know what? I'll move on to a
let's talk
slightly
about
different.
this then.
We're
We're at the end of
New
April.
buyers.
We're at the end of April. May is a pivot month. Sometimes May is great. Sometimes May is not so good. I predict that we're going to be seeing a lot more homes hit the market by June. And I think we may see some people that are desperate to sell and can't really hang around for a month or two to try to get what price they want. They're not going to have that kind of time. I mean, I showed a condo to 4 different people. And out of those 4 people that I took and showed the condo to, 3 of them are still trying to get their house ready to sell.
None of them have sold their house.
And we're at the end of spring, really, and they're not even ready for the market. So it's getting late now to kind of maximize. And I have one
Yeah.
lady that, you know, she's like, you know, Jackie, I would get you to help me for sure, but, you know, I can't really afford it. I had to try to sell it on my own because if I don't, I'm not even going to get enough money out of it to, and unfortunately, you know, she's come down with an illness, can't work, so money is tight, and she needs to get as much as she can out of her house to purchase something else. So, you know, I said to her, I said, I totally understand that. I'm like, you know what, but let me help you. Let me help you sell it yourself. I'll come, I'll give you some pointers, tell you what you can do. I'll do some, I don't know, brochures that you can give to people when they come. Like, you know, I want to help you, right? So there's people that,
We'll give them brochures and stuff
but there's
like that.
people
the
that are like at
chances
the
of them
tail
selling it
end of the
themselves
market and they're
is
not
gonna
ready.
be really, really, really
Yeah.
struggle, especially if you're trying to save money.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
a tough one.
This is what's really, really interesting. For those of you who are there, because we're talking to a whole bunch of people who are by their computers, because this is an internet radio, look up private sales versus real estate managed sales. So when you see this number, this is a number that is put out there, and they study at land titles the difference in the prices that come through the system. So the ones that don't go through the real estate system versus the ones that do. So it's a for sale by owners, private sellers versus the professional real estate market. And the professional real estate market typically charges between, like we're talking the average here, between 5 and 6%, 6 a lot in the States, 5 a lot here. And that's pretty much the average. Now, there are some people that charge less, and we'll get into that. But basically, the least amount is 0, which is the private sales. So basically, the private sellers want to save the 5% commission, right? When you look up private sellers versus professionally managed real estate transactions, there's a 13% difference.
In price?
So in price. So they're trying to save 5% and they're losing 13, on average, 13%.
So they're losing 8.
So there's no win there. And you know what's even more interesting than that? Because I find that interesting. Because I'm a little bit of a real estate geek. I'll admit it. That's my life. That's the way it is. But between real estate agents now, so the Toronto Real Estate Board puts out the stats, and so we know what the average sales to listing ratios are, and then you compare them to yours. And so then you find out if you're within the average, below the average, or above the average. And we have been, depending on the year, between 2.9 to one time we were up as high as
4.9.
4.9-ish % above the average realtor. We're not talking about above for sale by owners. We're not talking above the discount agents that maybe are doing it part-time and just trying to scramble to get some money. We're not talking about the hardcore professionals that are there and they're the average guys. We're talking about the marketplace, and we are well above it, which means realistically, when someone hires us, we actually pay for ourselves. So if you want a discount broker, well, you're going to be below the average. You're losing money. You hire us, we're actually, through our negotiation, through our systems, we're well above the average. We are actually paying for ourselves. So people who hire us are getting more money.
And you know,
it's really that
but
simple.
just-
And that's really cool.
And just, you know, like I had another situation this week where I had a client buying a condo,
yeah.
loved the condo. I mean, we haven't went in firm on a condo yet because they're an older couple and they want to be careful, and I get it, right? And I don't ever suggest to somebody, let's go firm. If that's not something that I believe that house is not going to give you any issues, once you close, I will never say to you, I feel comfortable with you going in on a firm offer. So we didn't go in firm, and then she got another second offer, which she told me that she was possibly getting another offer. She said her people were gone away for Easter and they couldn't deal with anything until Sunday, which that may have not have been the truth because I gave her the offer Friday evening. But anyway, so be it. I'm not going to just think the worst of somebody right off the get-go. So we put her offer in. She gave both of us a chance to go back. So we took all the conditions out. This is how much they liked this condo, which, like I said, they weren't willing to go firm on anything. But this one, they liked it enough that they said, okay, you know what? We'll give them full asking and we'll go firm. So I said, okay. I said, and one of our partners had taken them out, which is a family member. And I said, well, how do you feel about them taking the conditions out? Not finance. We didn't have an issue with finance, but it was home inspection. And he says, no, he's like, we checked everything while we were in there, and I feel pretty good about the condo that there's no, things that were done wrong at Reynolds or anything. I said, okay, then if it's your family, if you feel confident in that, then okay, let's do it. So anyways, I gave her back the offer, and she wanted a quick closing, but our closing wasn't quick because we're trying to match it with the closing of their home. And, but I did say to her, I said, don't count us out. I said, it is possible that we will move the closing up. But I did tell her on Tuesday we were going to find out if the new buyer of their home could move it up. But I said, you know what? They may be willing to change the closing. Okay? She calls me back about 2 hours later, and she says, I'm so sorry they decided to go with the other people. I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, yeah, it was a better closing and blah, blah, blah. I said, but I specifically said to you, don't count us out, that we can probably change the closing. And she's like, yeah, but, I said, but I don't understand, right? Because I'm fighting for my client, but I know it's past the point. It's already done. And she's like, yeah, but, if I would have came back and gave you another chance to improve your offer, I had to give him a chance too. I'm like, okay. So give us both a chance. Like, I might have even came back with more money. Like, you don't know, right? And sure enough, she didn't do it. So the very next day, they're like, you know what? We want to put an offer in on this condo in the exact same building, and they paid $40,000 more for this other condo.
But it was bigger.
It was bigger, but still, it
yeah,
wasn't like a real money issue. I'm just saying, like, she didn't.
Right, but your point's being lost, honestly.
Okay, go ahead.
So it's really important because I'm listening to you. Your point's being lost. The point is that realtor lost their client money. Okay, so because they don't have great negotiation skills,
I don't think that's what it is.
It is. They have anxiety, not negotiation skills, and her anxiety made her fear going and sending the offers back in order to get their client more money.
But Randy,
she stopped the process so that there was no more negotiation, and therefore her clients never had the opportunity to get more money.
but she already had the offer. All they had to do was sign it if she didn't get any more. She just had to sign that offer. It was no loss.
No, Jackie.
Do you understand what I'm saying, though?
I do.
The offer doesn't run out until X amount of time, so you can still accept it if you can't get more.
I understand. You're talking about the tech. I'm pretty sure half the audience doesn't understand what you're saying.
Really?
But I
think
understand
you're
what you're
wrong.
saying. What Jackie is saying is that if she was to send it back, there's a thing called an irrevocable, which is the time when the offer is good till. And even if she was to send it back and say, hey, you guys do more, let me get my client more money. If the people said, no, I don't really want to, she still had an irrevocable where she could have accepted whichever offer she chose.
Bingo.
So she didn't lose. So my point, where I believe is not being made here, is that she could have got her client more money with better negotiation skills. And all she had to do was work the process. The process that she has in place is not designed to get the most amount of money. It's designed to get a
it
deal.
sold.
And these are the little nuances that are really important when it comes to you as a seller to be confident, because these aren't things that we can explain to customers when we go and see them on a listing appointment. They just have to kind of trust their gut. But these are the most important things when it comes to an offer time.
Yes.
And so you know, and so yes, and then Jackie then went on to explain that her clients definitely had the money to bid higher if she were to allow that process to take place, because they bought a much bigger condo on a better floor with better exposure for $40,000 more, and they got a good deal on that one too. But it was
They
a
did,
bigger
yeah.
one. They could have they would have been okay with the littler one, but they went with the bigger one this time with double parking and,
And
all
what she
that stuff.
didn't do, she said to me, yeah, but you know, they were really anxious and everything, but she didn't explain to her client what was going on. We have this offer no matter what until this amount of time, until 5 p.m., 6 p.m. We can still take this offer if I can't get you more, so don't worry, you don't have to have the anxiety. But
But
Like
that,
our clients-
that you know, because you have a negotiation framework that you have built, so you're able to stand on that and make some decisions. She doesn't have that framework foundation. She is there
But-
making a sale. This is how real estate is taught. It is real
that's what I was
estate
just
is-
going to say. It doesn't
is
mean,
taught-
it just means that maybe she's never been exposed to it. It doesn't mean that she can't do it. She's just maybe never been exposed.
She doesn't have that negotiation framework, Jack.
That's what I
it
mean.
is. And so what we're taught in real estate school, this is one of the reasons why I'm not crazy about real estate school, is it's not about providing the optimum service for your client.
getting it sold.
It's about doing the most amount of transactions that you can. And the rest all comes out in the wash. So taking the time to develop, a framework that will get your customer more money is not something that they'll necessarily hit on. What they're hitting on is how you can get that transaction sold.
But that's also a trust that
advanced
you build with your
agents-
client as well.
Yeah, advanced agents do take the time to study these kind of things, and that was, I believe.
But
your
let's do
point.
these emails quickly. So Joyce says, Randy trying to sell a home in this market. He's in a padded room in a straitjacket. And Ken says, we saw him, Jackie, we saw King Randy the other day. And he's getting a pedicure. Actually, looking from a distance, that could be you.
Except for the beard.
Well, you know, you could grow that beard, I guess. I wouldn't like it, but you could. But yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I just feel bad for people that don't know what they don't know. You think you did great on your home, but did you really? You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, but we don't want people having that insecurity. It's not healthy for them to have
And there's
that.
some
But I would-
amazing agents out there
Yes.
that, let me tell you, I've come up against, and they are
Good
tough
ones.
negotiators.
They have great foundations.
Yeah, they are
You
tough. Like,
but that's not every agent. Did you know last year 70% of the agents didn't do any transaction? 70%. So I mean, not all agents are created equal. Let's just put it
well,
that
a
way.
lot of them got
So
their
it's
license
always-
in COVID.
So
and
it's
did
a
nothing.
really good idea. I mean, there's some great ones, like you say. It's a
Mm-hmm.
really good idea to interview a few, and then pick the one that you feel has the best structures in place.
And the one that's going to show you proof of what they're saying in black and white. Ask for the CMA. Ask for up-to-date
You
statistics and
shouldn't have
everything.
to ask. It should be
Well,
there.
ask
but
for it.
I do understand where you're coming from, Jack. If they don't have these things, I wouldn't. If you have to ask them for it, I wouldn't even bother, to be honest with you. But what I would say is what my wife is talking about here is the phenomenon, the human phenomenon, where we are very attracted to getting more. And so, hence, I'm not going to go into politics, but so it's this one's called the greed factor. So basically,
Which we all have a little bit.
Yes. So a real estate agent A and real estate agent B, real estate agent A goes in, shows you exactly what the market's doing so that you can make an educated decision. Real estate B comes in and throws some high price at you to get your eyebrows moving and telling you, not showing you, They're not showing you anything. They're telling you how the other agents don't know what they're doing. I can get the best, and it's all talk, and they can't prove it. And they do that because of the greed factor, because the homeowner then thinks, oh, look, if I go with him, he's confident, he's sure that he can get more money. And that's where Jackie then was talking about earlier. I thought it was a little fragmented, but what I meant, what she meant by it was that they will then beat you down in the price. So that's when he'll take you up to this high price just to get the listing. And then after that, be beating you down to somewhere that it'll cause the price to sell. And then when you get to the part where you get it to a price that it will sell, then not even having a great negotiation foundation to try to up and get you the most amount of money. They're just trying to unload the transaction. This is, unfortunately, the reason why this can be normal is partly to do with the way that the real estate industry is structured. It's structured on commission. Real estate agents don't make any money unless they sell the home. And so you want to kind of sell it so that you can make some money. And realistically, negotiations that Jackie was in the other day where we had two neighbors. They were this same home. And one was a few doors down from the other one. And oddly enough, and this very rarely happens, that you have the same home on the same street, listed at the same time, having open house on the same day, and selling on the same time. And the results of that was we proved.
We talked about that last week.
Yeah, for the new listeners, we proved 100% to ourselves that putting in the extra work pays off. Because we put out, and we do this with almost every open house, we put out as much as 50 signs throughout, leading people directional. We do our advertising and all that stuff to the property. And then out front of the property, we put out big flags and stuff like that and make it an event. Then we have
send out
drinks and
flyers.
food, and then we have a prize draw, and we make it an event. And so we did that, and we had 12 sets of people. So it was 10, then 2 that came at the end. Sets of families go through, plus 2 realtors brought their clients through. So we had 14 people, in essence, go through and see, 14 groups go through and see the home. And the other house, which was 2 doors down, had out, I don't know how many signs, 4-ish, because where we put our signs, we barely saw theirs. We just see one, I believe about 4. And then on the front of their house, they had this little tiny open house sign that you could barely see. You had to really squint with one eye to look and know that it's there. And that agent, when they finished, came over to our open house and talked to the agent that was inside, that was going and picking up all the signs, and talked to the agent inside and said, how many people did you get through? I only had 1. And what's really interesting, we had, like we said, the 12 plus 2 to 14. It's a one-way street. So they come to our house first and see all that stuff and everything. It's how they get there. And then 2 doors, 3 doors down,
They actually had to pass.
Yeah,
they had to
their
pass
house.
to get out.
And she only got 1 through. So her presence just wasn't there. And it just showed, like right there, that putting in that effort 100% pays off. Because of all the traffic that we drove there, she should have got at least half of it, but didn't. And then, so that was 1. But 2 was purchase price. Purchase price. So the 2 homes, the same home sold, they basically sold at the same time, and hers sold for $805,000, and our client's home sold for
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
You know.
841,000. And so, again, what it's really saying here is that putting in those extra efforts, having those systems, negotiation frameworks, and foundations to work on where you struggle. I mean, we we were in negotiations, the two of us, for several hours.
Well,
3,
our
4
clients are
hours.
older and go to bed at 9:30, and
But
I
they had
said
to
to
stay
them,
up.
I said, guys, I'm really sorry, but there's going to be a late one. And I think it was 12:30 when I finally
Well, we
emailed
were
them
finished.
everything.
And the thing is that it's, you know, people say, oh, that extra 10,000, that extra 5,000 doesn't mean anything. It certainly does. When you
Yeah.
can get 5,000 or 10,000 extra dollars in the last few minutes.
That's a lot of money.
That per hour. You know how much? There's not very many people that are making $5,000-$10,000 an hour. So when we can make that for our sellers, that's incredible. And so,
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, like, well, saying all that, like, we'll never be number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4,
No,
number
we
5.
spend too much time on our
I
clients.
never, and I don't really care to be,
But we're in the top 1%.
but I
Oh,
mean,
that's good.
like, I just not really.
But we'll never be like the number 1 transaction.
We'll never have a
realtor.
sign out there that says we're number
We're
1.
number 1 transactions in Durham. It won't happen for us.
But if I can be
because-
number 1 in customer service, I
Yeah.
won.
And that's just because we put too much time into it. You know, if you're baking every cake from scratch, you're not going to have a factory that produces McLean's cakes and pies and have them all out in the grocery store.
I like that McLean's frozen chocolate cake. Sorry, I had to throw that
There
out
you
there.
go. And so, yeah, what time do we got? 8:24. Good. So I still got a
Yeah,
few
you can
minutes.
still talk.
I'd rather spend the time burning you. I think I got you a couple times pretty good today.
I don't think you did.
I think I
By
did.
all the emails, it just looked like they were all like.
Some
yeah.
of those are your friends, just fake.
Really, hey?
It's like
Really,
fake
hey?
news.
They're all my friends. None of them are yours or what? They're all my friends.
All of them?
Every one of them that's listening. And guys, yes, get out there and vote, and don't vote red.
What?
Just saying.
Why?
That's how I feel.
Okay. I'm just saying, vote your heart, whatever it is. In the
Just
law-
remember, real estate and everything and the economy is the way it is because of who?
Yeah, that's a really unfortunate thing, but you
I'm
know,
just saying.
and I agree with you full-heartedly.
How long have they been in?
It's not only
and
that.
the economy just keeps getting worse
It's
and
not
worse,
only that.
and people are poorer and poorer,
You
and
know
everything
what?
is more expensive and
But
more expensive.
Canadians love them, Jack. This part of life befuddles me.
Yeah, me
like
too.
I do not, for the life of me, understand why we want free stuff. I just don't get it. Is that free stuff not expensive enough?
It's very expensive when you got to pay it back
Our
for everybody.
Our children.
You're paying it back for people that got it that can't afford to pay it back.
Our children are going to be paying for this stuff. Their children are going to be paying for this free stuff. Why does everybody want free stuff? Listen, leave it alone, guys. We need to cut back. We need to be able
Yeah.
to have a situation where our children can actually afford to pay for
Anyways,
their living.
email us.
Not a government that's looking how they can tax to pay for the stuff that they've given away, because every time they give away something, they have to get people to manage the giveaways, and that costs money for the rest of our lives. Just
I don't know.
stop
I'd
it.
love for people to email, and I'll go through them next week on the show, how much you benefit from that $200 you got, a couple months ago, based on the $3 billion that they spent doing that. I'd love to know how many people, think that was worth it. And
Yeah,
to buy
it
votes.
It
To buy
it
votes.
was worth it for me because I needed a shaver, and
No, you didn't.
I still didn't get the shaver.
You
because the
obviously
200
didn't. Look at you. You
didn't
obviously
make it.
didn't.
It didn't make it that far.
No,
but
I don't think you could buy a good shaver for that.
I can. They're only a few dollars. I could have.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So if they do it again, I'm voting red. If they give me another 200.
You're not getting 200 by Monday, so sorry.
I hope so. Otherwise, I'm voting blue or orange or green.
Green. Maybe they need a yellow party.
The yellow party.
I don't know. Just saying all these colors. You said orange, blue, green, so
Well,
I threw yellow out there.
Isn't orange NDP?
Primary color.
Orange is NDP.
I
Green
don't
party's
know.
green.
What is
Blue,
the NDP?
red. Is there a purple or something? What is that?
Yeah, that's independent.
Independent?
Is purple?
Yes. Purple's independent
So-
and orange is NDP.
Oh, so orange is NDP. I did not even know. Oh, here we go.
Aren't you glad you learned that?
Aren't you glad? Oh, you're so funny. Rita, we bought eggs.
Pot
Rita bought eggs
Hey.
with hers.
Oh, so she must be from the States because eggs are really expensive in the States.
Yeah, I don't know what I bought with mine. I don't even think it filled my car up with gas. So there you go. Or barely did.
Yeah, it would fill it up. You
Barely.
got a free tank of
Barely
gas.
when the gas is up and high.
And you never know. That could have been used to help you to get a sale, too. So
That's
it
true.
could have been
probably
huge.
drove me to Keswick a few
It could have
times
been
back.
huge. What did Pierre Polyev do for you?
Well, he definitely didn't put us in the hole yet because he hasn't been in charge enough to do it.
He's going to put us in a hole, too.
I don't know.
I think they're
I don't
all-
know if any of them are any good, but I mean, we've clearly seen that
I
the
think it's
liberals
time
aren't.
for a change,
Okay,
though.
we
Oh,
clearly.
shoot, it's 8:29.
Oh.
You got to stop talking. That's it. It's time for me
I
to
gotta
talk.
stop talking?
Yep,
Holy
yep. They're
shoot.
done with you. This is your home, your money in our lives on realityradio101.com.
Come
Bye
back,
for now.
Anthony. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts, Randy and Jackie Rodney, right here on Reality Radio 101.